that is certainly a dramatic and jazzy way to start a video game. Hey everybody, I understand it's been quite a bit of time. Just taking a little bit of R&R after all that time with Mazurna. But I don't know, I also got a new computer. Just kind of wanted to try out the setup, see, make sure everything's still in working order, but also while I was, I don't know, getting a little bit of relaxation from not having to actively subtitle a bunch of shit, I did happen across what I feel is a very unique and fun little PS1 title that I had honestly never heard of before, and it kind of tickled my pickle in the realm of, well, I'm actually a pretty large fan of detective stories, particularly detective animes, such as Detective Conan and Kindaichi, and, Professor Layton and his daughter. Those are all great. But yeah, this is The Adventures of Rob and Lloyd. It was pretty much a one-and-done little adventure game that Gus developed I think in the early 2000s at least. And I think Gus was mostly known, and is still known right now for, I think they're called like the Atelier series of RPGs. But yeah, they've done a few different things over time, and this was pretty much the only detective adventure game I could find that they ever made, and obviously never really left Japan, so never really got a translation at all. As far as I can tell, doesn't have a fan translation either, which is a bit of a shame because, yeah, from what I played of it, it's a pretty fun game. Now, I'm not going to be doing a straight one-for-one translation this time around. This is just kind of a fun little one-off video, I'd say, to maybe get some of you interested in this that might want to play it yourselves. But for now, let's go ahead and start on our adventure of Rob and Lloyd. And very much in the style of Detective Conan or a number of any other detective animes, just a nice little typewritten layout for the name of our first case. Now, as far as I can tell, this was not based off an anime. It did have kind of a prequel manga, I guess, to lay some of the groundwork for what I'm assuming to be a bunch of characters we should know something about, such as, I think, the way they kind of spelled it in the beginning crawl there. I think that it's supposed to be Eliza. It seemed, I want to say it could be Alyssa, but that's also kind of a bit too close to another character we'll meet soon. Basically, she is Robin's assistant at his detective agency here, along with Butler the dog. Now, a curious thing about Butler the dog is that to most people he just speaks in an assortment of barks, woofs, normal dog speak, but for some reason Robin can completely understand him, which really brings to mind Professor Layton's daughter's relationship with Sherlock the dog. But yeah, the gist of what's going on right now is that they are surprised that Robin is sleeping away in the middle of the afternoon. I assume he's probably thinks that he's not too busy. And honestly, he is quite surprised by the fact that Butler is just sitting here wolfing away in his ear, ruining his mid-afternoon nap. Thing is, though, that they have a very important reason for waking him up, and that's because, well, there is a fine young lady that has come a-calling. And just who is this young lady?
はじめまして。私はアリシア・ガーフィールドと申します。
Why, it is the Alessa Garfield? That's why I was a bit confused about what Robin's assistant's name was. It could be Eliza, and this is Alicia. But yeah, this is Mrs. Garfield. We kind of saw her already in the opening cinematic as well.
Garfield? 有名財団の Garfield 家?
But yeah, it seems that her family is quite important in the town. Very well off, and they have their own foundation named after themselves. And Robin is quite obviously confused why she would want to come down to this part of town to speak to him. And as you can imagine, the reason that any young heiress might be coming to a detective, well, that is to solve a case. Yeah, that's right. It's the young world, the young globe-trotting, charming, debonair. I think it's supposed to be Kyle Rockwood, but it comes out kind of like Ryle Lockwood. I don't know. But yeah, he's a very bon vivant man about the men of the world. And not only is he a very handsome, well-to-do man, but it just so happens that he is also in a relationship with the young Miss Garfield here. In fact, Eliza here, kind of a gossip hound, knows all about that. But what could be the problems with having such a handsome and debonair fiancé? Well, it's not so much that their relationship is any kind of danger. It's more that, as far as I can tell, Kyle has gone missing. But the thing is that Mrs. Garfield here isn't wanting us to try to find her missing fiancé so much. No, there is a larger mystery afoot here that she wants us to investigate. And namely, that has to do with a very important gemstone that the Garfield family is in charge of. And it was this very important gemstone that I think Kyle was looking out for as well. Now, I'm wanting to say that the name of the gemstone is Rose of the Dawn or something akin to that. I think it's because it's a very large ruby, or it's supposed to be anyway. But yeah, the gist of it is that there is I think the kingdom that rules over the town, and I guess the rite of passage for ruling is this very large ruby that's ensconced inside the crown of the royal family. It's basically said that whoever wields the gemstone is bequeathed and given the blessings of the gods, pretty much. I mean, this is all just obviously superstitions, but it's kind of the law of the land that I guess to gain the power, you do need that And that's kind of where the problem comes into to light here.
でも宝冠は
The Garfield family was pretty much, you know, given charge of guarding the gemstone and the jewels. It was supposed to be locked away in their vault.
ガーフィールド財団の地下金庫にこの120
And it just so happens that there is a coronation coming up. And honestly, they don't take this very important crown with the gem out that often.
財団では以前からカエル王国に
And it kind of happens that
協力を行ってきまし
with that coronation coming up and a new person coming into power, they were told to go check on it.
た。その見返りとして
And the gemstone ended up just being gone.
ガーフィールド財団ともなれば
And it was very obvious what the thief was after because the crown was still in the vault. All they ended up taking was the gemstone itself.
女王が即位するときには目覚めの
Problem is, that's obviously the very important thing here, and obviously it's going to look very bad on the Garfield Foundation if that's not found, which I'm assuming that's why her fiancé Kyle went to go look for it.
カエル王国では宝石は太陽を表し
But now, not only is the gemstone gone, but also Kyle has gone missing as well, trying to investigate and figure out where it is.
宝石がないと王として神に認められないと言われているのです
Thing is, at least Mrs. Garfield here does have some notes that she ended up getting from Kyle, and she does have some ideas where he was trying to
財団
investigate.
では来月の即位式に合わせて
Namely, it's at the local museum that I guess he was trying to look into.
空っぽだったのですか
いいえ
So, being the good guy that Robin Lloyd is, he's more than happy to take up the case and go on the trail to see if he can't find poor old missing Kyle, and more importantly, this Rose of the
目
Dawn.
覚めのバラだけが消えていたのです
ライルはその宝石の行方を追っているうちに博物館で行方不明に
ええ私の祖父である財団長が宝石を取り戻せば結婚を許してやると
Now, I want to say I fully appreciate the voice acting in this. It's pretty top notch. Music is actually pretty good for the most part. It's all very chipper and happy, and yeah, there's a whole lot of comedic flair to it.
戻せばよかったのかしら
なるほどねライルのやつ大張り切りってわけか
ロビンさんお願いします
Man, we're almost done with this cutscene. I think Onegashimasu is kind of like a plead, I guess.
ライルが言ってましたロビンは俺の次に頭が切れるやつだって
わかりました誰がロンドンで一番か証明してみせましょう
And like every good detective in an anime, it's kind of his pride to always see a case out to its very end.
バトだ事件だ行くぞ
I do really feel like they were trying to set this up as a larger franchise for people to get invested in and to maybe come back to later on. It's honestly a whole lot of character that this game has, and
ここが例の博物館だ
I don't know, it is a bit of a shame it never really caught on. But before you know it, we're already at the museum in question.
おいこらバトラ
And while it might not normally be a good idea to just let a dog go wild inside of a museum, this dog has a vest, and we can hear it talk. So that doesn't make us fucking crazy.
この前みたいに変な罠にはまったりするなよ
Also, it is a lot of motivation to get us heading further into the story, so why not? Let's go ahead and chase after Butler.
まったくあいつは 大坊だね。
I mean, it works out either way because this is where we were wanting to investigate it in the first place. And with that, we are finally into gameplay proper. And sadly, that means that we are not going to be hearing voice acting. But it does mean I can go a little bit faster through some of this text. And immediately, we are greeted by 2 young children here at the very front. They're having what I can only assume is a good-natured brother and sister squabble. And fuck, I love their little animations and sound effects. But yeah, the brother here is definitely goading his sister. And that just honestly won't do. He shouldn't be antagonizing that poor little girl so much. I mean, granted, it is kind of what, young siblings do, but... Well, obviously, this is going to be our little tutorial about the ins and outs of detective work. Also, what I assume calisthenics is. That is, awkward. But since we are at the museum, we might as well see if we can't help with their little situation here, and also it gives us a perfect opportunity to learn about one of the key mechanics of the game, which is, doing a bit of detective work. And yep, that's definitely the boy we were just looking at. 5 foot tall, fucking Bart Simpson looking piece of shit. But yeah, the detective work is less vocalized and more actually just poking around people, such as this guy right here. Yeah, we can take a closer look at him. See his unmentionables, make him feel as awkward as he makes everybody else feel. Sadly, though, that doesn't really help us in our investigations, or in this case, helping the young girl. So instead, we want to see if we can't find something else interesting about him. I mean, we can move his model a whole 360 degrees. And this pocket back here seems a bit weird. Definitely draws my attention. Let's see if we can take a closer look. Yep. Don't want to be this close to this little boy's pants. But what can you do? We're having to solve a mystery. But yeah, his back pocket definitely draws my attention. And by taking a closer look, what do we have here? Why, it is a mysterious note from Kyle, giving us a little hint about what he managed to uncover inside the museum. But while we do find a number of these clues throughout, I kind of already know what I'm doing because I am a master detective as well. But yeah, outside of his pants, the other thing we want to take a look at is inside his jacket here. Knowing where exactly you need to look can be a bit finicky. Like, there are definitely exact spots you want to make sure and look. Because by looking inside of his jacket, we find another pocket. And inside we find a little chocolate bar. Go ahead and take that. Because anything that we can take, we might as well do. And outside of that, I think we've shamed this young man enough by getting a real close look at his clothes and seeing him in his underwear. What about the young girl over here? Well, we can't investigate her, thankfully. Instead, she has a little thing that we need to solve. Namely, I think the young boy over here hid something that was very near and dear to her, and we want to make sure and try to get that back. I mean, this isn't really, let's say, super plot relevant, more of a little side quest, but we do want to try to get all that sorted. And while we're at that, we can start to look at the museum itself, such as getting a closer look at the placard here. Not really a placard, maybe like a stone tablet. Bit difficult to make out, but much like with anything that we can look at closer, it does give us a nice little 3D view of things. Sadly, nothing we can really investigate with it. And there are quite a few things that are like that. They're just kind of, hey, you can get a closer look at it, but it's mostly just to give you some background flavor, I guess. Yeah, there are whole lots of interesting items here in the museum. Plenty of things we can take a closer look at. Such as these two paintings here. Just a little bit of a landscape. No secrets there. Also have what appears to be a ancient Japanese actor. I want to say this looks very familiar, and I think it's also familiar to Robin, but yeah, on closer inspection it looks like something he should recognize, but it seems a bit off for some reason to him. Like he doesn't really recognize the actor. It's strange, I guess. Just a little central display here. Yet again, finding hot spots where you can investigate are not always super clear, but nothing really of interest to us on there. Let's have a big gong here. Sure, if we had a mallet or something, we could probably hit this and annoy the shit out of everyone around us. Yeah, we got, I guess what could be maybe Shiva? I mean, it's definitely an interesting piece of artwork. Though I kind of feel like that's not really the intended design. At least it doesn't feel like a classic piece of architecture anyway. Nothing really else to do with that, just a little bit of a goof. Let's see, we got... I'll head down this way first. I will say the museum is not especially large. It's got a few primary exhibits. Does have a nice little tea lounge here. After you're done taking in all the pieces of antiquity, you can come relax, get a nice little beverage, and enjoy some music. Let's see, is there anything interesting with this piano? I kind of feel like there might be. Definitely was not something I'd expect out of the piano, but what can you do? Yeah, nothing really to do with that either. Sadly, we don't really have time for a beverage. We need to get on to solving the mystery and figuring out where Kyle is and finding this Very large, important ruby, right? Let's see. I think we should be able to find something useful fairly soon. I mean, as of right now, we just found a chocolate bar, and... well, we did find a note from Kyle. This looks pretty fancy up in here. Let's see what we got. A fine admirer of the arts here. Yeah, let's take a closer inspection of this guy. Yeah, this guy looks suspect. Or maybe not. He might just enjoy art. Whoa! His head's a paintbrush. Other than that, though, he's just kind of a weirdo. And as you might assume, there are a lot of security guards around, always trying to protect all the fine antiquities all around. I mean, they can't really afford any velveteen ropes to keep people away from touching everything, so they just have all these nice gentlemen lounging away in these chairs. And they're not really helpful to us. Looks like something is wrong with this particular statue here. It is missing a head, which is... I mean, I guess it could be just a old statue, but... yeah, I don't know, something about it just doesn't really feel right. What is, though? But yeah, that pretty much covers what I will call the west side of the museum. Nothing really to gather information-wise. So it just seems like a completely normal museum to me. Opposing side, though, it seems like things are a little bit more action-packed. As it seems there is definitely something wrong with one of these statues here in this circular hall. And just what is wrong with this particular statue? Well, it has a rather awkward defect about it. And I think both the security guards are a bit worried that it might be a bit dangerous to have this out here on the floor. Whoop! Yeah, that's definitely not safe. Honestly, does not feel like... feels like that's pretty much a safety hazard. Probably should not have that just kind of hanging around. But it is yet another little tutorial that we are kind of being given a little hint about here. Namely, we just have to wait for these security guards to go away to take a little closer look at this statue here. Wait for them to shut the hell up. There we go. But yeah, there's definitely something strange afoot in the museum here. I mean, quite a few of the antiquities seem a little sketchy, a little bit not quite right. Don't want to even say they seem a little bit suspect, almost cheaply made. But it's definitely, giving a bit of rise to Rob and Lloyd's curiosity. So why don't we go ahead and take a closer look at this statue here to see what we can't uncover. And I think this is where you're really supposed to get your first hint that you need to really take a good close look at everything within a particular item, because you might find something interesting. Such as in this case, we already know the statue is broken. And while I would be a bit worried the security might come back and kick us out, I think they're just off doing something else. And the reason that we did want to knock the head off this statue here is that it was hiding an item. Let's go get the cursor. There we go. But yeah, it's a badge for the Mystery Exploration Club. Not entirely sure what that is, but I think I know who I should give this item to. Because I want to say that what happened to that statue is not... I don't want to say it was merely by accident. I think it was actually due to the actions of a rather rambunctious young child. And in fact, from looking around the museum, it seems there is a little bit of maybe a class trip going on, because there are some other children roaming about. Namely in here amongst all the dinosaurs. Yeah, look at this little piece of shit. It's not what you do to a dinosaur. He's king of the beasts at some point, man. He's like, I love dinosaurs. Jurassic Park. It's my fucking favorite book. He's like, what other books by Michael Crichton have you read? He's like, well, I guess I read Congo, and I've read Sphere. And he's like, I loved Congo the movie. Tim Curry was great in it. Oh yeah, did you see that fucking sweet-ass box over there? It's got a surprise. And, well, I can kind of tell you that doing anything this hyperactive little kid wants to do is not the best idea. But I don't know. I kind of trust him. So let's go ahead and check out that box that he was pointing at. I mean, along with that, there are a few other seashell fossils down here, but not really anything we care about. Nothing that gives us any type of a real clue. All we really care about is a sweet box that trustworthy young scamp told us about. Let's check it out. It seems pretty innocuous. But oh no, it's a trap. That's right, it turns out to be the most annoying piece of Stone Age technology ever, the comedically annoying music box. Yep, and the security guard's not super happy with us, but honestly, we're re-entering the room where we're completely fine. And I want to say we could reprimand this young child and, strip him of his clothes and take a closer look at him, but thankfully we can't do that. That was really weird. Also, yeah, all the guards in here are super lazy. They don't really want to mess with us. But yeah, we do actually want to get something while we are in here. It's just a bit hard to tell. It just involves this big T-Rex little skeleton here. Now, can you tell what we need to get in here? Because it's a bit harder to tell. Honestly, I'm trying to remember. I'm wanting to say it might be in the leg. Yeah, There we go. We've entered the bone zone. I'm sure this will keep its structural integrity if we just take out, I'd say, a third of its leg. And hey, another item that will help us in our quest to solve everything. I mean, we've got a badge, we've got a bone, we've got chocolate. All perfect things to solve the mystery. Also, there are quite a few interesting statues here in this little central area, but one that really draws my attention is right here in the center. And yeah, you can kind of tell it's an angel with a bow. Thing is that I don't know. I figure normally with a bow you'd probably want an arrow. Seems like kind of a half-finished statue. So you need to keep an eye out for anything arrow-like. You find a little bit of the east side of the museum here. Just has a little reading area for, I think, one of the curators of the museum. And he's just having a fun read about history. And we can take a closer look at this gentleman. Look at him. What a nerd. Sadly, I don't think there's anything super interesting about this guy. I mean, he's reading books, which is always good. It's very educational. But this book isn't really... it's not super helpful to us. Trying to remember if there's anything useful in any of these books. I don't feel like there was, outside of just a bunch of classic history that we don't really give two shits about, because we're solving mysteries. And mysteries are in the present. I could have sworn there was maybe another message from Kyle in one of these, but I guess not. But yeah, it seems like we've covered the entire museum at this point, which is not great, because we have not found anything legitimately useful at this point. I mean, let's see. We've got a badge, and we got a bone. Didn't we? Oh yeah, I think the chocolate bar was actually something that we gave to the little girl. Thing was, I think she is actually missing something else, and I think that other thing that she is missing is this badge here. Yeah, from what I am able to gather, her brother, being the little jerk that he is, ended up stealing both her chocolate bar and her young detective's exploration badge, and, well, he kept the chocolate bar for himself and probably broke that statue and hid the badge inside of it. But we tell her about all the cool dinosaurs over on the other portion of the museum, and yeah, they're both super excited about dinosaurs, because who isn't? Yep, they are super excited to go have some calisthenics away from us, which I appreciate. God, I love the sound effects. But yeah, it's at this point that Robin decides, I don't want to ever have kids, and I agree with him. But it may seem like that was entirely pointless for us to do, but in reality, these two statues they were standing in front of are actually our next little puzzle. Because by taking a closer look, we see that, well, they are pretty strange looking statues. But if we take a closer look and make sure to look pretty thoroughly at these, I think we should be able to find something to fuck around with. I think it was the nameplate. I thought it was the tail. I think it was the tail. It's something. Maybe not. It's the head? There we go. I was like, I know there's a zoom. Something askew with this statue. The head. Oof. Sorry. Find what I'm looking for here. Oh, wait. Is that it? Oh, it's so hard to see. It's a little button on its butt. Oh, and I knew it had something to do with the tail. Yeah, let's crank it. And we made the head turn around, which I guess is something. And likewise, the other statue has a similar hidden mechanism that I think I should be able to find faster. Possibly. Well, that's how it looks in Australia. No button on the butt. Oh. I don't know how you're supposed to see that, but yeah, there we go. Let's go and spin this around. And hey, you know what? Seems there is a deeper mystery to the museum after all. Also, I kind of feel more and more that these statues were not made by some ancient civilization. In fact, deeper inside the museum, we uncover the hidden truth of the museum, which is, well, it's not really artisanal antiquities. They are just freshly made forgeries. There are a number of gentlemen working deep inside the confines of the museum here, making all types of odds and ends that I guess could be art, maybe. And for the most part, they aren't super pleased that their handicrafts are being used to trick people, but pretty much like the animals from the Flintstones, they're just like, well, job's a job. Even though, I don't know, this isn't the best work. It's kind of nondescript. Sure, that's something to be proud of. Yeah, he's working away at it. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, this is at least another piece of the mystery as to what's going on within the museum. But I don't know if it really helps us in finding Kyle. It's definitely, it's got some unique pieces down here. From Cactar. Ooh. Super close. And I think what's like a little bucket of cement or something. Not really we can do with that though. What's really quite interesting though is that there's a mysterious piece of artwork right underneath the table. And Robin Lloyd's like, yeah, it's Banksy. Well, yeah, that's another piece of the mystery solved, I guess. It definitely seems like something underhanded and secretive is going on in the museum, but yeah, most of these guys are just quiet and wanting to stick to their work, so there's not really a lot of help to get from them. There's no items to get. Thing is, though, by heading down into that area, does cause time to pass, and we are now in the Ben Stiller classic, Night of the Museum. And that means that we can start to poke around at a few additional things and odds and ends. And one of the things I completely forgot to take a closer look at, or maybe it was blocked off by one of the museum patrons, was one of the other statues in here. It was this one. Because by taking a closer look at it, we can see that it is indeed missing its face. And it would be super cool if that guy making forgeries down in the museum basement would just be kind enough to give us, you know, the face that he was working on, but sadly that's not really going to be the case. Instead, since we are free to poke around more so than normal, one of the things I want to make sure and get is that horribly annoying music box that just annoyed the shit out of the security guard before. Yeah, I'm not sure why I guess the reason we couldn't pocket it before was because it was museum property, but well, now that we know that everything in this museum is, you know, bullshit, I guess I shouldn't feel so bad about stealing the dinosaur bone or doing anything wrong in here. I think the old saying go is, I don't know, 2 wrongs are super great. But yeah, pretty much now we can solve a whole bunch of puzzles we couldn't before. The next one I want to try to poke around in. Actually, well, we can't do this just yet. Because you might recall, there was this gong here. I don't think we necessarily have a hammer. But we do have something else we can pound away at this thing with. And that's with the dinosaur bone here. What? Hey, that's a not. Oh, that was an item. Yeah, this museum's got quite a few weird things going on in it. Namely the fact that there was a Castlevania weapon hidden away inside the wall there. It just seems that while it is triggered by sound, hitting the gong doesn't really seem to give us enough time to get over there to get the item. And while we do have the music box that I think is going to be the key to that puzzle, we can't really do anything with this guy standing here. think he'll just get mad at us if we start blasting music in here. So we need to find some other way to move time a little bit more forward. And that involves solving a puzzle here in the ancient Roman portion of the museum. Maybe Greek, maybe one or the other. I mean, what's namely drawing my attention is the large columns and arcs, things like that. It's not a Parthenon. But yeah, it's super easy to miss like what we need to do to interact with this fully. And that's mostly because you can investigate all the empty chairs of the guards, and most of them don't really have anything of interest, but this one does. And it's got a little hidden switch. And just like every other thing in this museum, it hides a secret for us. Though, before we can really go much further inside of this secret, we have a little puzzle to solve. Yeah, there are some English letters down here on the ground. Problem is, what do we need to spell? Well, there are a few statues here along with the exhibit, and the central figure here, if we take a closer look, well, Robin mentions that it seems like it is the goddess of love. And you might also recall one of the guys working in the basement did mention in all English letters, Venus. And yeah, that is the solution here. Let's go ahead and spell out Venus. Oops. I just already entered the wrong letter. Hooray. Alright, so we got a V. A Veen. Yeah. We got a Venu. And a Venus. Very Ark of the Covenant, just with a lot lower stakes. And honestly, it's really good that no kids or anybody else manages to get up here and see all these weird-ass mechanisms to fuck around with. Because otherwise, they would have solved this mystery way earlier than us. And what the fuck is going on in here? Well, not only is the museum hard at work making a whole bunch of forgeries, oops, but they also are, I guess, holding auctions to sell the actual legitimate pieces of antiquity, which is not great. It's, in fact, super illegal. And I kind of feel now that I can guess what happened to Kyle. He might have gotten a bit too close to figuring out all the stuff going on with this place. But it's time to confront the owner of the museum and get to the bottom of things and figure out what happened to Kyle, and more than likely what happened to the super important gemstone that should be in the crown of the monarchy. I mean, if this guy is actively trying to sell pieces of antiquity and, try to pass off some forgeries to the public, he seems like a prime suspect for what happened with that gem. Sadly, before we can really fully confront him, our arch nemesis comes onto the scene. That's right, it's that evil character from Tron Bonne without all the cool hair.
現れたな、ドイル大佐。
And he's got his own weirdly dressed army of henchmen.
いつもおりゃ全部偽物じゃねえか
But yeah, it seems that Colonel Doyle here was also on the lookout for the very large, important ruby. And he is very frustrated because amongst all the things that were up for auction here, the ruby was not one of them.
ほら言わないか俺様に偽物を使わせる気か何地下にあるだろよし
And there's only one form of negotiation that Colonel Doyle does, and that's violence. And while I feel that, Robin Lloyd could have been a little bit more forthright there, he was also a bit outnumbered, and we haven't really learned the ins and outs of combat just yet. And yes, there is combat, so yeah, it seems it's not going to be as simple as just following after Colonel Doyle. We're going to figure out some other way to figure out where the gemstone is. But that little cutscene did cause a little bit more time to pass. Not that the museum itself seems any darker or anything like that, but yeah, the janitor that was here is no longer here. And along with that, if we head back down into the basement area where all the forgeries were being made, it seems that once the earth started shaking, the whole world was a-quaking. All the underlings that were making all the forgeries, yeah, they boned out as quick as they could. But that's good for us because that means we can now pick up that mask or the faceplate that the guy was working on, and hey, wouldn't you know it, he actually did a pretty good job. And I think that also means that we can go try to fix the face of that one statue. But yeah, I will say that this game is not, I would say, super difficult by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I think with enough exploration you can end up finding everything you're looking for. Whoop! That's weird. And what do we get for our troubles but something in his butt? A lot of butt-related things in this game. And hey, it's another mysterious message from Kyle. Now, what I think that message states is it's basically a hint to opening the painting in that other room that we kind of triggered via the gong. Basically, that I think noise makes the painting move. And this part actually took me a while because I kept on trying to race against time to bang the gong, run all the way back over here, and that just was never working. And what ended up actually being the solution, and that I could not, it was just a lot of poking around, was that on this display here, this is actually where we need to place the music box. And we also need to get the fuck out of here, because I can't stand this noise. There we go. Alright, let's get away from this. Alright, so we now have a cross. And I'm trying to... Well, the only thing that really brings to mind, I guess, a religious theme. There's the angel here in the center. I could have swore, though, that I needed to use like an arrow with it, but I guess a cross could be like an arrow? Sure, that works. And hey! Another super odd, mysterious passage that seems like anybody could have stumbled on this, and it would have been super dangerous for them. And this... What the hell is this? This museum is super fucking weird. I mean, it's got an auction house and a forgery pit and underground lake. In fact, it's an underground lake full of museum crocodiles. And you remember when I mentioned combat and how we hadn't learned about it yet? What better way to learn about combat than to be shoved into a very small arena with a bunch of museum crocodiles? And yeah, the combat is weird and not, you know, super clean. Basic, like, you can't really stop and shoot, especially with these things, because they are vicious as crocodiles would be. But yeah, I think we just have to shoot the amount of crocodiles that are numbered in the upper right hand corner, and then we'll be good. Thankfully, the hitboxes on these things are not great. Oh, fuck. So close. Good thing is that there are checkpoints right during the action set pieces, so not really too thrown for a loop with that. I do kind of wish there was a way to just be stationary during these parts, but yeah, sadly not really the case. Also, yeah, I don't know what type of gun he has with its little white pellets. You know, a part of me, like, with just, like, the perspective that this game has set up a lot, really makes me think of Mega Man Legends. So I assume that he is just an ancient relative of that particular Mega Man. Good at this section. The good thing is, I'll say there's not very many combat sections I've run into with this game just yet. Which is probably good, because it's not really its focal point, I would say. I mean, the game wears a lot of hats. And I would say the primary thing it does well is just having a fun, lighthearted adventure with a little bit of investigation. Combat, I could honestly do without it. For our hard work, even though the bridge is destroyed, we now have a bridge of dead museum crocodiles. And who do we find in the cage? But, well, we can't tell just yet because the cage door is locked. I mean, there is just one crocodile here. Let's see. There's nothing to... Oh, yeah, that's what he likes. Likes a little belly rub. And inside of his mouth, we find the key to the cell. Because, you know, why not? Inside the cell, we find at least half of what we were looking for, which is the effervescent Kyle Rockwood? Lockwood? And he seems in his usually high spirits. I think he's kind of either just very high on life or possibly an idiot. Either way, he doesn't seem too perturbed about being locked away down here, and I think he's just happy that we got all of the sweet notes and we're able to locate him and save him from his dire situation. Thing is, though, that he really, while he did uncover the mysteries of the museum, he still did not really get any closer to finding out just exactly what happened with the gemstone he was looking for. But he seems pretty sure that he will be able to find it. He just needs a little bit more time. But since Robin Lloyd is here, it's probably best that Kyle just kind of stick on the sidelines before he ends up as Crocodile Chow or imprisoned again. And Kyle is more than happy to do that. Oh, to be rich and in love and just a big old hunk with a beautiful mane of hair. And, well, Kyle did have it pretty bad in here, but he did manage to pitch his own little tent. We do want to make sure and take a quick look inside, because we do find what could very well have been keeping good old Kyle in such high spirits, and that was a little flask of spirits. And you know, part of me is very concerned about just leaving Kyle here with this crocodile, but what can you do? Hopefully you're still alive whenever we solve the mystery, Kyle. And what is going on? What is even this? Well, I think for right now that is a good stopping point, maybe a complete stopping point. It kind of depends on if you guys enjoyed this at all. I'm more than happy to play through the rest of this game. I don't honestly think it's super long. I think it's maybe like 3 hours tops. Yeah, it's pretty short. Like at this point, I think we're, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way through the game. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested at all, I'll be more than happy to get through this. We can see what's inside the pyramid. See if we can't recover that gemstone. But I don't know. Hopefully, you will join me again next time for whatever it is. Maybe I'll do something normal. Who's to say? But yeah, see you later.